Welcome to the Wisconsin State High School Curling Championships being held again this year at the Wausau Curling Club facility, which is one of the better in North America. I am George Hirsch, and I'm joined with John Wilkerson, who's going to do the strategy and help me out on the broadcast. John is a D.C. Everest grad and a current student at the University of Wisconsin, Stevens Point. This matchup is the first of our coverage of the boys' side. There are 32 teams in the tournament, 16 girls, 16 boys, and the game we've chosen out of the 8 that are taking place, 1 on each sheet of ice, there are 8 sheets of ice here, is Stevens Point and Wausau East. And looking at the rosters here, you'd have to say Point would be the favorite based on experience. They have a senior and 3 juniors on the foursome in the rink, and Wausau East has 4 sophomores, so they are a young, relatively inexperienced group. But things will come about here where the superior experience doesn't really mean anything or is not a factor. So, John, welcome, and here we go.
Hi.
All right. We're going to start out here with the yellow.
Looks like Wausau making a nice comeback.
Yeah. See, they're in the middle of an end right now, so we'll pick things up as we move along. And all right, now it's Spash.
So yeah, it looks like at the moment, Wausau East is sitting a good view. They do have the home ice advantage since they curl out of Wausau.
Yeah, that's a big factor, isn't it? Sometimes, especially in the beginning of the match.
Looks like they're going to have to really sweep this one and get it there. I think right now the Wausau ice T wait like 4 seconds backline to hog, so a lot faster than it is in Stevens Point. Since last night when I was curling, it was more like 3.5 seconds. So as you can see, it's going a little fast.
Yeah, and they have to pick that up, and reading the ice is a big factor. There's no doubt. Well, now we have Wausau East, and we'll pick up who the individuals are as we move along. Wausau East rink is the Jack Link rink. The first is Zach Peterson, second Evan Cerny, third Connor Imhoff, and Jack Link is the skip. For Stevens Point, Chase Haferman is the lead. Carson Yenter is second. Matt Davis is the third or vice. And Joey Dobbs, a junior, is their skip. And here's East now. They are in yellow with the yellow rocks. And that'll show on the scoreboard. Down the road.
So at the moment, I believe Wausau East has hammer since the Stevens Point scored 4 last in, making a nice draw game at the moment, keeping a top house close so that Stevens Point doesn't have much access. They're probably going to call a hit here since they're sitting Wausau East is sitting 2 yellow.
Now, as we look at this, John, you say, oh boy, East is really in great shape here.
Yeah.
But it's so early, and it can change so fast. It just takes one rock because the points are inside out from the tee, from the button on this 12-foot concentric circle. But the number of rocks we see in here right now, for those that are on the ice, it's more than normal. I don't see many guards out there.
No. Yeah, looks like he's going to try for the double on the 2 yellow and the 4 foot. It's a very good call since he can roll to the other yellow on the side. Just depends on where he hits it.
Okay, we're just about set for the release on the other end.
Looks like he's not giving much ice for it, so he's either going to be throwing a lot of heat with that rock, or it's just not curling at the moment.
Okay, just like most of them, their release is like a handshake.
Yep, you just want to reach forward, kind of release to that rock, and it'll go nice and straight. Real close.
Well,
almost had the one and then the second.
that changes the perspective a little bit on strategy now. The pairings, there are 4 pairings for this tournament, 16 boys, A, B, C, and D, and a draw, and it's a draw before the tournament. Stevens Point, Waupaca, Kimberly, and Wausau East are in this foursome. Wausau West and DC Everest ended up in the same one, which is unusual.
Yep.
But they are. That's what they deal with. And you can see the scoreboard, and we'll catch you up on that shortly. There we go. So,
points up for it at the moment.
Right. And this is end 2 we're dealing with.
Yep. Looks like Wausau is calling a little more ice on their shot. I didn't quite catch it, but if I had to guess, they're going to do another draw. Traditionally, I think Wausau has been a good draw team. It's definitely one of their strengths. And then Stevens Point, I would say, probably tends to be more on the hit side because before they got the new club from Century donation, they had to play on pretty slow ice. So.
Yeah, they have a good facility down there now, too.
It's real beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the Skip's advice, take a look at it and see what happens.
I'm going to go top 8. Not a bad position.
Not at all. Not at all. Well, Stevens Point and East, if you look at the history of this tournament and the winners, they go back a ways. Partyville, Poinet, you know, those two are, if you look back at the beginning of the state tournament, which was like 1959 or something like that, Poinet and Partyville are number 1. Actually, Wausau West is the defending champion, and they won in 2019 as well. Wausau East last tournament win was back in 2007. One of my brothers was the coach at Wausau Senior High in '67 when they won the state tournament. And that was in an infancy at that time.
Yeah.
I'm looking for a Stevens Point winner in this tournament. And I don't see any. So they're looking for their initial victory or state tournament victory, but you know, because of the ice situation, John, maybe they weren't competing?
I would not be too sure. I know they had, for the longest time in the past, 2-sheet club, and then just, recently, this, year or 2 ago, they got 4 sheets from the Century.
Okay.
I'm not too sure on that, because I know that for, well, it looks like right there that there's this girls have won back a few years ago, but I know Everest has not gotten a title yet, I don't believe, at least for state. I know we've won a TG, but I'm not too sure about Stevens Point.
Yeah, and you talk about TG, I mean, that is...
oh, another close, almost had another double.
Yeah, yeah. And we have covered, you know, on Wausau Area Access Media, we have covered the TG in the past, but we have not since COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when we stopped doing that one. So, okay, let's pick up action on the ice here.
Looks like Wausau is going to call another draw to the forfeit on the left side of the house. That might be, I'm guessing, if they'll probably come up a little light, or they're going to have to sweep it a little just because that side hasn't been worked with much. They'll have to probably be a little bit of fresh, frosty ice out there. Unless he throws it a little heavy. See what happens.
Well, East practices on this ice, so that should be some advantage in the beginning at least.
That is very true.
And they're down 4-0, so they can use a couple.
Pick me up.
couple points in this one. Well, we see the takeoff out of the hack.
Looks like they're going. It's hard to judge weight from just looking at the camera view, but if I had to guess, it looks like it's going to come up as a guard. It's okay. Protect their one at least. Make sure to secure it.
Yeah.
Oh, they... Is that the end? Okay, so they have one for sure. Not too sure on the 2. Didn't get a chance to see if they looked closely at it. But at least they secured their 1.
I'm thinking 2, but I'm not sure either. Well, they'll show the scoreboard here shortly, and then we'll be able to take a look at that. There you go. They got a couple.
There you go.
So we've played 2 ends now, and it's 4-2 Spash over Wausau East. And this is an 8-end tournament, or 8-end in terms of games. And of course, and it does happen, we had a game earlier with the girls where they were shaking hands after number 6.
Yep.
And that happens. You don't want it to happen. You want it to be, but you know, they come in on a draw. Okay, it's not seeded, it's a draw. And so you don't know that aspect of it. One of the other factors, if you look at these rosters, and the rosters are given to us, we have them all here. Some, you know, there's a team out of Portage. They have 2 teams out of Portage, and one of them is 3 freshmen.
Yeah.
So experience certainly has a role in this whole situation too. Okay, now we're getting started. Wausau East.
Gonna try to get their center line guard up. Probably gonna be a high guard from how it looks. It's really grabbing.
Yeah, they earn the hammer with those 2 points, so they go first. And for Wausau East, the lead is Zach Pearson. The second is Evan Cerny, as I mentioned, and he'll be coming up next. But we alternate here, so for point, it's Chase Haferman as a junior is the lead.
Looks like the sweepers are saying it's a little hot.
Yeah. Usually the skip takes care of some of that, but he could tell that time.
Oh, starting to slow down. They're thinking about it.
Yeah.
It's going to probably end about top 12, top 8. Real nice draw to the side.
Well, it pulls off to the side in the 12. Looking at that circle from up above really does help.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of where the stones are and relative to each other and the scoring and everything else that ties it in, and it's a really nice feature. And you don't see it in all curling clubs.
Yeah.
Okay, this is N3 we're in. And the second
Of the Leeds Rocks, yep.
of the lead for East.
Going to be throwing a draw behind the center line. Looks like they think it's pretty good since they haven't jumped it yet. Looks like it's starting to grab. Might go, no. Might go top 8. Oh, nice. Gonna just outcount the red.
Yeah.
Almost biting a foot.
Yeah. Now that is so close. You know, what is it, the vice?
Yep, the vice skips can measure it later on.
Yeah, and they can call for a measurement. And
Yep.
they have a device they use. I've seen it used a few times. And, you know, I've seen it a couple of times where they couldn't decide after the vice use.
Yeah.
So then somebody's got to decide. There is someone in charge of that kind of situation here. So
Yeah, it's quite very rare since it's such an accurate device, but
right.
I think if it's a tie, you actually have to rethrow the whole end, which is very rare.
Yeah.
I think I've only seen it once. Oh, a little bit of a fall back there. Coming down with a nice control weight. Gonna probably hit it. Looks good.
Well, mission accomplished on that one.
And a nice little freeze on the other red rock.
Yeah. You know, every end is different. I mean, you look at them, and there are a million ways to have it. All the rocks on the ice around the circle. You know,
Wow.
a million ways to have it set up. Everything from a blank,
Yeah.
you know, to the other end.
Looks like they're gonna call a double on the reds.
Mm-hmm.
And they're sweeping it. Looks like he might be a little inside or down weight if they're going at it.
Yeah, this is
yeah.
Evan Cerny's toss.
Not bad. Got one out.
One out. Yeah. Now the sweep for the other team, once it gets past the center line, can get involved.
Yep.
That time he didn't need to.
Yeah. So like Stevens Point's going to split the house. It's a good traditional strategy. That way, if East decides to chase, there's always going to be that one red on the side that they have to worry about.
Okay, they're talking it over. Nice follow through. You can see the fans behind the glass in the bleachers, and
it is a full packed house today.
It is. It's really something. I think the Olympics helps over the long term. The Olympics have helped draw people to curling.
For sure.
But it's one of the better, in my mind, it's one of the better sports at the high school level, simply because of the factor of the coach. Now they can have 2 timeouts, one by the coach and one by the team captain.
Yep.
Or the skip, but they're not on the ice, and the parents are behind the glass.
Yeah.
I just thought I'd throw that in there because that's not true in a lot of high school sports.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
So I mean, they are a team, and it's their thing.
Yeah. Sometimes you gotta discuss it with them. Looks like Wausau East's Brock's going to come up a little light and crash on the guard. I think they're going to draw behind to the 4-foot.
Mm-hmm. Here we go.
Stevens Point's going to call the split again. They had good weight last time. It just didn't curl as much as I think they thought it would.
Keeping in mind, Point has a hammer. This is Carson Yenter. Their second. He's a junior. There is no dress code per se for curling like there would be for some sports. But again, if you watch these teams, and there are 32 teams here, the majority of them have some kind of a uniform, some identification, which is part of that team pride, team camaraderie and everything else. Okay, now you've got a nice split for Spash.
Yep. It's like Wassey's. Not too sure if they're calling the hit and roll behind or if they're just drawing behind. I'm guessing they'll hit the red and roll just to kind of keep Stevens Point down on points in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, he's throwing the intern. It's like they need to sweep. It's really starting to take off.
Intern is a counterclockwise. Now, the sweeping is.
I think it's going to hit on the outside or. Oh, it knows.
There it is.
Not a bad position.
Sometimes by this time, you've got a crowd in the circle. Right now,
keeping it pretty clean.
Very clean, but that could change before this end is over. That's for sure.
Yep. They're calling sweep, so it's probably a hit on the yellow roll to center. Oh, real nice. Gonna roll over behind the guard, sit on the top 8. Beautiful shot.
Yeah, that was a nice shot. There is no set time limit, is there, for high school?
No, not in high school.
I mean, I'm sure in some tournaments somewhere there is a time limit, but
yep.
High school, it's they trust them and they keep it along and keep it going, and This is Evan Cerny's second rock.
Yep, looks like he might be throwing like a hit around the guard, try to get those red. Oh, they're calling off. It's gonna get one. Oh, bump the second.
Ooh, but
He might be able to get it to the 12, not out.
Not out, but he accomplished quite a bit.
Yeah, he even rolled it a little bit behind that guard a little, so it's going to be hard to get it out.
Good shot. Well, now we go to the second shot for Matt Davis.
So they're staying close, but waiting a little bit. It's starting to cut over. As long as I can get it past those guards, they're gold. Oh, it's going to crash.
Nope.
Real close. At least they open it up for the skips rocks.
You know, just some facts about some of the curling things. You know, there are such things as a blank end. I don't remember being involved with one. You know, a blank scoreless.
Yeah, those usually only occur when both teams are throwing a lot of hits, which...
Yeah, heavy stuff.
Yeah.
I had some statistics here on the width in the U.S. and the length of the, you know, up to the hog line, 21 feet or whatever, and that kind of thing. But in my notes right now, it doesn't appear.
I think they're throwing close to 40-pound rocks down.
Yep.
Might be 120 feet of ice. I'd have to think about that one, but
I think you're only a couple feet off.
Yeah, it's good distance.
Yeah, it is. It really is when you think of it, and the accuracy and the you know, the accuracy, the speed, the you know, the weight. I mean, everything. It's, you know, it could become a science for the top ones.
It is. If you go to college nationals, MIT likes to kind of record everything, so it's kind of funny because you'll see them get their notebooks out and they're trying to like treat it like a physics problem since they're trying to calculate the velocity. It almost seems like, or Harvard will run stats and everything.
Sure.
It's always fun playing against the teams out east.
Yeah.
Looks like it's a little heavy. He's gonna get it to the edge of the 12 foot. Hard to save the camera, but red might be out counting the back one.
I think red is out, but I wouldn't.
Can't say for sure.
Red is counting, but I don't know.
So if point can hit that yellow, they may be sitting potentially too. However, I think Wausau still has one more to correct that.
Again, we go back to the hammer. Results on this one with the Spash with the hammer being able to kind of control things at the end, or have the opportunity to control things at the end.
Yep. Yeah, just from what I've seen so far, I think the ice is staying relatively straight to a certain degree, considering the lack of like room between the rock, the edges. I know in Stevens Point last night it was probably curling at least a foot on ticks. Here it's only like a few inches, it looks like. It looks like they're having their one sweeper on the outside try to sweep, get it to curl a little. If you get really fancy with it, you can kind of, there's a difference between holding the try sweep for straight and trying to get it towards the end, try to get it a little curl, depending on like what part of the curvature the rock's on.
Yeah.
A lot of complicated stuff, but Stevens Point, one of the really good programs.
Like, well, they're pondering this one.
Yeah, I think they're going to try to fall down and get rid of that red. Try to limit them to one or two here in this end.
This is the last rock for East with their skip. Jack Lynch, he's a sophomore. And then Spash has the last one with the hammer. Now you can see a little bit of the crowd behind the, and it's full. I mean, those bleachers are packed.
Yeah.
And then they have chairs on both sides and some people standing. I mean, it's a packed place.
Looks like they're waiting on the sweep. Must be a little outside. Oh, just barely missed.
Nope. Well, it's open for, I would say, one for Spash.
So they're going to try to draw for their second, maybe third, depending on where those red and yellows are.
Yeah. Yeah. These are decisions that I like the idea that the coach is not involved.
Yeah. Really leaves it up to the team to decide on what type of risk reward they want to go for.
Right. And I would hope in this day and age they outlaw iPhones between the coach and the players.
Yeah. At Nationals, you're not allowed to have your Apple Watch or anything just to make sure that you don't have any communications. So
Oh, sure. I would believe that, yeah.
they do a really good job of making sure. I think it's good.
I think this one is going to help them out a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, just passed. Real nice.
Oh, well, still going to get one.
Yeah, for sure 2 for point, maybe 3, depending on that outside.
I think 3. I think now the Vices are looking over. I think it's 3. Yep, that's it. 3 more for Spash. So now, after 3 ends, what do we have here?
7-2 looks like. Spash 7
to 2.
Wausau 2.
Mm-hmm. And I think, experience matters.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, and in that one, there wasn't much action in the circle. There wasn't much there. And so, weight that Spash used better than East, I think, toward the end to get in there.
Yeah.
Because that last rock was worth,
Spash Skip did a really good job of making that draw, since
yeah,
every skip should have the ability to draw to the house when need be, and luckily he was able to deliver for his team.
Right. He still has the hammer now as we go to N4.
Looks like they think it's a little heavy. They might be going top house. I don't know if he called the guard or not. They're up a few, so I think they're going to play a little bit more aggressive gameplay. Yeah, go right about to the button. Maybe back house. A little heavy.
Yeah, not quite. If you look at that from up above, look, that's why that view from up above camera really is beneficial. Because that one, it's hard to tell whether it's in the 4 or 8.
Yeah. So Wausau is going to drive to the side, put up a guard. At least that's their plan, it looks like. Try to start to get some offense here with getting the guards up and then going behind. Real nice guard. They can come around that with the next shot.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, looks like Point's going to go all in, play top house. They're really trying to get Wausau to play the hit game so they can get rid of their rocks.
Chase, their lead is the junior, Chase Hefferman.
Looks like once again the sweepers think it's a little hot. They're going to stay on standby. I'm guessing it's going to be probably for sure top 8. They're starting to think about it now. It's probably top 4. Yep, right to the tee.
Wow.
They even lost a little bit of handle there, almost looks like.
Yeah, no, now they are putting pressure on East.
Yep.
I mean, it's just showing up right now. Their strategy and their success with it
Yep.
is showing up.
So Wausau's goal, I'd say right now, is to try to just hit the one red and roll behind their guard. And if they don't get double, it's no big deal, because they don't want to sit in the open and leave the raw rock for Point to pick off.
Well, they've got enough weight.
Yeah. You're going to make the hit. Nice roll. Will they stay? Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, just about. Just barely.
Yeah.
But they cleared the 4-foot, so at least they don't have to worry about that for a bit.
Yeah, they accomplished the most important part of it, I think.
Yeah.
Here comes the first rock now for Carson Yanker.
Looks like it's a little light. They're going to have to pound it. I don't know if he called top house or guard, but I'm guessing it'll end a little higher than what they predicted. Oh, they're carrying it.
They're putting in some energy here.
Yeah.
I think it's going to pay off.
Nice. Looks like they're going to get it just biting the top 12. Put more pressure on East.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that was a good example of sweeping.
Yes.
You know, you have a goal in mind. You know what has to be done, and you got to feel good about it.
Yep. It's also a great example of just the trust they put in their teammates, is that they know they can trust them to get it to that house. They don't have to throw perfect draw weight. They can throw a little light, let them carry it. So they're going to throw a hit. Wausau East must be a little inside since they're sweeping it. Oh, looks like it might be good. Kind of watching it now. Oh, it must have fallen out.
Whoa. Well, it didn't.
It looks like it fell a little more than what they expected since they jumped it.
Yeah, well, and I think the weight was too heavy, too hard for, you know, to make any adjustment.
Yeah.
You know, with or without a broom or whatever, however they were going to do it, a curl.
Looks like it's a pretty good weight. They're staying close. They know they're going to have to probably get on it towards the end. Looks like it's for sure going to be top house. They're just going to keep loading them and put on more pressure. They might chip off that red and roll, but they're sitting 3 at the moment, so a lot of pressure for Wausau East.
East needs to do something about now. I mean, they have plenty of time.
Yep, they still got, including this rock, I think 5 rocks left, so they still have a chance to turn it around. Looks like they're sweeping it. It looks like it's going to get the right roll. The question is whether it sticks. It's a little too thin, but they got the back red out.
Well, what we're seeing so far, John, is a lot of inactivity in the circle.
Yeah, everything's kind of staying to the outer edges.
You know, I don't see any guards really. Now, East, one thing for East, the middle's open, you know, over the button, so that's good.
Yep, the skip can make that final draw if they need to. Stevens Point's probably just going to put it in the top house again. The thrower seems to be a little afraid that might be heavy, so I'm guessing it's going to be for sure top house, if not T+. Yep, they're kind of staying away from it. It's going to probably cruise back 4, back 8. Oh, it's going to stop right there.
Oh, stopped at a 4. Okay.
This could be an opportunity for Wausau East, since if they hit and roll behind the right side there, they have a lot of cover to work with.
Okay.
Yep, it's calling it.
First rock for Connor Imhoff. It seems like they have enough weight.
Yep. Question is if they can hit it and roll right. Oh, they're just going to cruise just by.
Wow. They are just missing opportunity after opportunity here.
Yeah, the ice seems to be curling a little bit more than what they expect on their hits.
Yeah, yeah.
Might be going from inside out. It might be curling a lot more than outside in, since Seems to be the way they're missing on those.
Yeah.
So once again, he thinks it's all there. Thrower's kind of waving to let them know that he thinks he threw enough weight. Sweepers seem to agree. Looks like another one that's going to go probably top 4. Well, it's slowing down. It might go top 8. Oh, they're going to sweep it to this 4 foot. Got a Christmas tree up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So at the moment, they're sitting 4 points, doing pretty good. Guessing Wausau is going to try to play for the double. Might be more advantageous to hit and roll, even if they don't get that 1 red in the 4 foot, just to kind of start building up rocks on the side. But they could also just play for a low scoring in and come back next time around.
Well, that needs a little more spin, doesn't it?
Yeah, looks like they hit just a little thin. Oh, they might get not quite the double. So Stevens Point still sitting 3.
Yeah. Yeah, that if it has that much weight, it's hard to
For it to come back, yeah.
Yeah, either in or out side.
I'd say at the moment, Stevens Point's picked up a little bit faster on how the ice is curling compared to Wausau East.
Yeah.
I think Wausau East has to realize that throwing from the outside in towards the center line, it's probably curling half a foot, and then from inside out, it's probably curling a little bit over a foot. So it's just those half misses that are kind of getting them, while Stevens Point's able to just work on their draws. Looks like they got 1 sweeper going. Probably going to be top 8.
This is probably their best rock they've had.
Yeah, real nice. Just set it up. Not too close, but not too high. Still putting pressure since it's now 4 red in the house. And Wausau East doesn't have as nice of a double if they want to try to make it, since there's probably 2 to 3 feet of difference between those 2 red.
It's interesting, John, how this started. Before we picked things up here on our broadcast, East had 2 points. And we haven't seen them, and I don't know if that was home rink advantage, or what, but their inexperience is showing.
Yeah, I'd say the odds are when they scored their 2 is they were playing more of a draw game, and Stevens Point was kind of struggling, but now that Point has figured it out, draw weight, Stevens East is having to figure out how to throw hits, and they're having to catch up on that now. So all those half makes on the hits and rolling out, it's just leaving Stevens Point the opportunity to keep practicing their draws.
This is skip for East, Jack Lynch.
Sweepers are going at it.
This is going to do something. Not sure what, but it's going to do something.
Real nice. Got to get the other. It's not bad, though. They're sitting second, so.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. Not at all. They went from 4 to 1 here. The last couple.
Yep. Point's just going to keep putting on the pressure. They're probably going to remove the yellow. And then that way they'll be sitting 4 again, and then Points, or Wausau is going to have to settle for just hitting that 1 red on the 4 foot and take 1 point. Assuming that Point makes a shot here, so we'll see what happens.
Well, that shot changed the complexion of this a little bit.
Yeah. So he's throwing a little bit probably down weight hit, but still gonna be able to move it. Trying for the curl on it. Looks like he's just a little wide. Oh, he's just gonna hit nose, which is just fine.
Yeah. He accomplished it. Now, John, East just has to put one in there, don't they? I mean,
Yep.
They got to.
Looks like they're feeling confident on throwing the hit over the draw to the button, which is fair since he just threw a hit. So as long as they stick within, they got like probably what, 5 feet to roll to the right and 2 feet of air they can roll to the left and stick, and they'll still be count. So they got room to work with here. But yeah, as long as they are touching 8 foot, I'd say they should be golden.
This is critical for them. N4, down 7-2. Yes, they can only get one, but they should get it.
Yep. It's a nice open hit.
John Lynch, their skip. And here they go. The release.
So they're staying close, but I think he's wanting it to curl a little. Oh, they're calling it.
Well, I think it's heavy. I'm looking at it as heavy.
Oh, hits and
wow!
nice.
Look at that.
Real nice.
Wow.
They needed that.
No kidding. What a nice finish. Well, that means we've got a game a little more, doesn't it?
Yep.
Halfway through.
Good motivator for Wausau East to get that one.
Yeah. Confidence builder. We're halfway through. 8 ends. We're done with 4. 7-3 Spash leading Wausau East in the draw. It's a round robin situation, so you've got 4 teams in a set, and they play round robin. They play the other 3 teams, and then the winners move on to the next level, and that's tomorrow afternoon. Championship to follow in the later afternoon.
Yep. So looks like the coaches called timeout since it's in between ends.
Right.
I'm guessing Wausau East called it since they're probably gonna have to reevaluate how things are going. If I were them, I'm guessing they're gonna have to start throwing a few more guards since point isn't missing.
Yeah, the girls play next, and then the boys are back at it at 6:30. And then tomorrow, it's the boys at 8 and 10:30, and also the girls at 8.
Looks like they got it.
There we are. John Wilkerson and myself, George Hirsch. Hope you're enjoying our broadcast for WAAM, this Wisconsin State High School Curling Championship. And we have a timeout. This is the first timeout in the game and a half that we've been involved with here. And each team can get 2 timeouts. One by the coach and one by the skip. But the skips has to occur at a particular time, John, and maybe you can explain that aspect of it.
Yes, so the coaches, I believe, can only call in between ends, since that way they're not really necessarily involved when there's rocks in the house. And then the skips, they can call it whenever they feel like during their shot. So there's no like icing the kicker in football or anything like that. So like when it's their turn to like throw rocks in the house, that's when they can call it, and they only get 1. It looks like we're back to the game.
Yep, here we go. And number 5. Big factor right now, Point has the hammer, and they lead 7-3.
Yep. Wausau is probably going to have to go for a steal of points here if they really want to get back in this.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, they're throwing in a high guard, and then probably for the next they should throw a little bit closer. That way Stevens Point can't just get around it and keep making their hits. So Stevens Point's going to go around to the top house, try to put more pressure on there. Nothing wrong with that. It's not necessarily the traditional strategy of drawing to the side, but if they end up drawing behind there, then Wausau East has to worry about getting to that 4-foot and beating them. I think this is going to, at the moment, I'm guessing this is going to be more of a clustered house. We'll see what happens.
We haven't had much of that in this game.
No. This is looking pretty good. Probably top 4. May come up short. Okay. That one really grabbed at the end. Well, there's their second guard. Wausau East could just draw right in if they want.
Yep.
Looks like they're going to throw the guard, though.
You know, I like those Spash jerseys.
Yeah.
I mean, those are nice. As I said, there's no dress code, but they're dressed up.
Yeah. Looks like it's going to be another guard. Might be another real high one. They're really having to sweep it just to get over. Well, they'll carry it to the middle.
Now, is part of what they're doing tied in with the fact that Spash has the hammer?
So yeah, so basically since Wausau East doesn't have the hammer, and they're having to like steal here if they want to kind of stay in this, they're going to probably throw a few guards on that center line because the 4-foot is really what's going to control this end right here. So they're going to start throwing up a lot of kind of clusters in the front just so that Stevens Point can't be throwing hits all the time, since that's mainly their game at the moment. Stevens Point has chosen to go and follow them around, so they must be pretty confident in their draw game, because this could come and bite them if they don't make their draws, since they're also kind of adding to the cluster up front, and whoever gets one rock in behind there is going to be pretty well set, since it's going to be hard to get to it. So it kind of comes down to whoever can make the first really good draw.
Okay. Their strategy is to move outside.
They're sweeping it. Looks like I think it's a little light. Looks like it's going to be pretty light. It might end up only being a guard. It's going to be a really huge cluster this time around. Most of the 4-foot's covered at this point.
Boy, is it ever.
So yeah, Stevens Point's probably going to play on the right side, at least from this current camera angle. At least I would consider it, since they have that red rock out there on the edge they could tap.
Yeah.
It looks like he might be talking about drawing between the reds, or even playing the tap on it. Oh, he might choose for the peel. Not a bad strategy, since they are up 4 at the moment, so they could just try to clear this up a little.
Well, this is their second. Eyeing it up. Carson Yenter.
It's going to get 1, move the second. Still a lot of stuff out front, though.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, John, when they say there are a million different ways this thing can play out, or you can see on the ice, there is. There has to be.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just every end looks different.
Yeah. So it looks like Wausau East at the moment is going to try to play a high-risk, high-reward shot. They're going to try to draw between 2 red. So if they make it, they'll be sitting pretty well. But if they mess up, they could tap one of the red in. So it looks like it's curling. They're having to really go. Starting to cut over. They might make it through the port.
They are.
Real nice. So it looks like it paid off for them this time.
Nice shot. Nice shot. Yeah, that was well done.
Looks like Stevens Point's going to call another takeout. They're going to try to run their red into the yellow. That way they kind of have control of the front of the house.
Last rock for Yenter.
Looks like it might make it around that guard. Real nice. I think this is going to be a nice one. Look at that.
Wow.
And now they have both that high guard and that red in the top 12, so they got nice control of the center. That's what they want if they want to stay ahead of Wausau East and keep control.
That was a nice shot. That's Yenter, their second, and he has to be really feeling good about that.
Oh yeah, that's got to be a good high. So it looks like Wausau East might be doing the same thing. Try to play a hit on that red. I don't know if you can get quite to nose. They might be rolling behind their yellow guard that's out to the edge there on the right side. Me personally, I'd almost rather choose a draw just because hitting stuff that's in the top 12 isn't going to benefit them if they're going to steal. They kind of want to keep everything clustered, but I can understand that they want to also try to regain control of the house. Oh, it's just going to take off and roll.
No. You have to have more than just speed.
Yeah.
Okay. Excuse me. First rock for Matt Davis, the senior. The only senior on the ice in this one. East has all sophomores, and Spash has Matt Davis, senior, and the other three are juniors.
We've got a few years left, or at least 1 year left for some of those, and Wausau East is kind of a relatively new team.
Well, Wausau East did really well a couple of years ago, I remember.
Yes,
really well.
They did. They had a really great draw game, and that's what carried them so far, was that no one could outdraw them.
Uh-huh.
So I'd kind of like to see Wausau East try to recreate that draw game that they used to have, because I know they've always been good at it. At least traditionally, I think they've always been a way better draw team than takeout teams.
Mm-hmm.
Stevens Point's going to try to play the tap here. Not a bad call. I'd almost save that for skip rocks, though, just because they open up a draw if they don't make this quite right. So, of course, it might hit nose. Yep, they're going to be fine. It's still going to kind of guard that left side there. And a nice tap to tee.
Well, it's starting to build here a little bit.
Yep. It looks like he's going to call that takeout on that rock they just tapped. Not a bad call. If they can make a double out of this, if they open up that side, or leave their yellow there to promote later on. See what happens.
Well, they're busy. Now, they cannot touch the rock with their feet.
Nope. There will be a burned stone and they'll have to remove it from play if it's before the hog. So he's going to hit nose. Oh.
That's...
At least their yellow's up there, though, so they can now promote that if they want.
That above camera shot is really adds a lot.
So Stevens Point's considering drawing around that far right. See if they decide for it.
He's taking his time. They want to be on the same page. Yeah, that's as much action as I've seen out of a skip for a while.
Yeah. Looks like he's going to opt for the draw to the right side. I'd agree with that shot, just because messing with that left, that yellow there could be a little risky.
There, you can see some of the rest of the rink. There are 8 sheets, and they're all busy right now.
Yep.
16 teams on the ice.
Well, they've made it around the guard. Question is, can they get it biting? They almost have it.
They'll have it.
Real good sweep.
They'll have it.
So looks like Stevens Point's sitting 3. Really good position for them.
And they have the hammer.
Yes.
Wow.
So they could easily capitalize and shut down this game right here and now.
Yep.
Put
absolutely.
the nail in the coffin.
Absolutely.
I believe Wausau East is up on skip rocks, so this is where they're going to have to really make some nice shots here to limit. That promotion of the yellow is probably one of their best calls. Actually, yeah, that's probably what I would call, because even if you open it up, it gives you another shot than down that side. So even if you don't make it quite right.
Yeah.
They just got to probably play a conservative weight and just play to tap it in and not worry about taking out any rocks. Speed is probably going to be their worst enemy here. Looks like they're giving the ice for just a nice tap to the tee line.
Uh-huh. Well, Jack Lynch, you're going to keep him in it. He's got 2 opportunities. A lot stands on there, holds on this rock.
It's really cutting over. I don't think it's going to... It might make it around, but it's going to probably crash, yeah. Just not quite what they were looking for. It's not bad, though. They kind of open it up, so they might have a chance of redemption here, but...
Yeah, they have one more.
Stevens Point's going to guard it. At least that's what they're considering. I'd almost say they need to just put an iron in the house here to put pressure on. They just put, like, one right on that red there in the top 12, just barely biting.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they just put it right there on the top 12, it's really going to make it hard for Wausau East to score anything or steal. Because if you throw up a guard, you're just giving East a chance to somehow get behind it, and then you have to deal with your own guard kind of working against you. So I'd say playing in the house is going to work to their advantage compared to throwing it up, but they just might want to play it conservative here and try to make sure they get their 3. So we'll see what happens.
Well, they're taking their time.
Yep.
Yeah, the skip for the East has to stand behind, and that's it.
Yeah, for all he knows, he might have to throw a shot down that line himself, so
right.
It's good to kind of take notes on how this rock goes.
Exactly.
Looks like they're going to sweep it. Definitely think it's probably lighter. Guessing it might be a guard, but you never know. No, they're rethinking it. It's definitely going to be a close guard. It might be the top house, which is what I would do. They should really sweep. Yep, there you go. That's what you want to get, is right there on top house.
Wow.
And if you Christmas tree it a little, so yeah. Wausau East is going to have their work cut out for them.
No kidding.
Truthfully, they probably need to draw that same side, but through the port between this red. Because tapping anything on that yellow over there, it's only going to hit the top house rocks, and it's not going to do anything good for them.
Part of the problem is those red rocks are high too on the circle.
True.
I mean, you can tap them or raise them, but you can't. They're still going to be in the because East has nothing in there to counter it.
So it looks like they're going to be throwing it in turn. They might just be trying to play the double there to limit on the damages, but I think you got to kind of go for a hard steal since they're already down 4. I'm kind of hoping that's actually a draw that they're throwing. They're just going to draw inside out, kind of go behind all those guards and everything on the very far right side, an 8 foot, and then they could limit to maybe 1 point here, but we'll see what he throws. It looks like it's a draw. Yeah, they're just kind of lightly brushing. I almost think they're going to need to go, but it's hard to say from the camera here how fast that rock's going. They're thinking about it. It's got to for sure be top house. Might have given too much ice. It's really got to cut over. Yeah, just too much ice. Almost had the right weight.
They got 5.
Yeah, definitely sitting at least 3, 4. Yeah.
Well, they got 4.
Yep. Now Stevens Point just has to make the draws, but less ice than what Wausau East does. Go kind of right between the yellow and the red. They'll get their 5. Or they could draw on the outside. That's actually probably safer. So as long as they get full 12, this game's probably done.
Yeah. Yep.
He's going to play the same path as Wausau East, just a little less ice. I almost might take a few inches less, since it seems to be going really straight down that center line.
Now, looking at the score and the probability of what's going to happen here, is it to East advantage? Do they have to shake, or do they have to just make a decision? Or can they say, let's play some more, we need the experience?
Yeah, so I don't believe there's a mercy rule. They could just keep going if they feel like it. At this point, if they get 5, it's going to be 12-3. It's probably in your best interest is to shake. I mean, what, they got 6, 7, 8, so they still got 3 ends left. They could just do it for the practice, but I don't think they're going to generate the points, assuming this draw gets made. So it kind of just comes down to if they want to kind of practice a little, get that morale back. But
Yeah.
it could also get damaged if they...
Yeah, they could lose again big time.
Yeah. I'm guessing they're probably going to call it and just kind of rethink their strategy. Real nice draw by the skip there for 5.
Yeah.
Because I think it's going to be 5.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm guessing Wausau East might shake here. We'll see.
Well, yeah, they're not going anywhere.
They might play it back. Let's try to see what happens. But 12-3, 9 points. Yeah, not looking deficit, not looking too great. They're talking.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the only reason they would continue is experience.
Yeah. I mean, there's always the slight chance that, like, they score a huge, like, they have to probably get average at least 4 rocks in here for the next 3 ends, but odds are that's not going to happen.
Right.
You never know. You can always catch a team off guard. Because, like, sometimes people get relaxed being up by that much, and that's when they start making mistakes. So we'll see what happens here.
Well, they're going on.
Yep.
They're going on. And it is that experience factor.
Yeah.
And how often do you get in a state championship against Spash is going to be competitive in this one.
Oh, yeah. They're going to be one of probably the teams you're going to have to look out for.
Right. And so just that extra experience has to help in some way. Probably not confidence, that's for sure, but...
No. I mean, they could always have a little bit of comeback and it could help them feel better, but you might as well throw rocks back instead of pushing them all back. We'll see what happens here. He's going to go for the corner guard again. Definitely needed. He might want to consider throwing 2 corner guards just because the first chance point gets at throwing hits after the free guard zone is gone. They're going to go right after all the yellow.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to maybe get over. Just barely. Good sweep on the sweeper's part there.
Yeah, that's a high guard.
Yeah, they should just, put another one right on the top house.
Wow, are they working hard?
Yeah, that one might come up a little light, which isn't exactly what they're looking for, because they don't want to give any more guards to Wausau East than they already have. They're working it. They might be able to get to the top 12.
I think they got as much out of that one as they could.
Oh, it's almost there. Not quite.
You know?
But at least it's close. It's better than a high guard, I'd say, at this point.
Yep.
But Wausau East does have the choice of either... I don't know if I agree quite with that play. I'd rather either aggressively you could just play the hit on that red, roll behind their guard they just threw up for you, or you draw behind, but I don't think that throwing a yellow right there is going to be quite to their advantage, just because it also kind of makes it hard for them to throw one off to that side now. It's going to be kind of closing out that port a little for them. Looks like they're really having to sweep to get it over. It's going to be a high yellow if it does make it. Yeah, now their port, it's going to be kind of really small. It's like only a foot now. So I don't think that was quite to their advantage. The Reds is going to play the tap to the top house, which isn't a bad play, but...
Now we go to the seconds here.
Yep.
Twelve to 3. You don't see that very often.
Nope. Looks like the sweepers are pretty confident in the weight, and they're only kind of waiting towards the end to sweep it. It's going to split the red. Not quite get the roll of both onto the house, but still sitting 2. And that one red's probably behind those yellow guards, so it's another problem for Wausau East to work with.
Yeah, Point will be playing Kimberly next. And Wausau East will be playing Waupaca. And then because it's a round robin, then their last game will be whoever they didn't play the other 2. Point in Waupaca, Weston Everest, Point at Marshfield Portage. So
it's like Wausau East is really having to get it over. A little light. Best they can probably get here is going to be top house, but even then, I think they're going to call it. Yep, going to leave it at guard. There is a draw through that port between the 2 yellow on the right side, but I don't blame him for going left and just playing the tap. You don't have to worry about hitting a yellow then. The only concern could be is if you hit that red a little thin, you do open it up for Wausau East to come down on that red in the 4-foot. So we'll see what happens with this. They gotta hit it, be pretty accurate to keep things nice for them. If you're staying close, might have to go for a line. Doesn't look like it has that much weight either. Oh, it picked. That's unfortunate. Gonna take off, roll. Didn't do too much damage to Point's red in the house though, but it's definitely kind of changed the way everything looks. Oh, he must have, oh, I guess it wasn't a pick. It must have been the broom hit the rock and caused it to turn like that.
Okay.
It's kind of bad luck on Stevens Point's.
You know, and that's another factor where this is a good sport. They made their own decision on that.
Yep.
I mean,
a lot of honesty on messed up.
I did it. Okay. Yep.
Own up to it and move on.
You don't have to have a referee there to, there's one available, but you don't have to have a referee to make decisions like that.
Nope, exactly. Might be a good draw away here. Might go top 8, T. They're really working it. No, it's just going to kind of cut over to the edge on them. Looks like Stevens Point's wanting to play that tap again. Like, not as much red available as there was before due to like the whole moving of rocks, but still a good chance of getting a piece and tapping it in. Guessing it's a little wide. They're not sweeping it yet. Kind of just waiting for it to come back. It might just get a piece. There we go. Question is the shooter going to roll on? It might. Not that it's going to do much since there's a yellow in the top 12, but It's like still Stevens Point sitting 3, a lot more pressure on for Wausau East.
Well, we've got the vice or thirds now in on the action.
Yep. Guessing line's tight if they're jumping on it. It looks like it has plenty of weight. They're just having to try to get around that guard. Might clip. Just barely. Well, at least they opened it up though for the next rock. They can throw it down that way.
You know, it'd be helpful for East to get a couple points here.
Yeah.
You know, just call them consolation points or whatever you want, but to finish, you know, it'd be helpful.
Yeah, they're going to have to make their next 3 rocks count if they want to stay anywhere in this. 0.1 looks like it's going to be a little bit light. Maybe not. They're sweeping in. Oh, that might be top 8. He's going to really bring it nice to 4 foot. Even oversweep, wow. Right to the button.
I haven't seen that a lot.
No. Except the only problem with it being in the back house is if East really wanted to, they could freeze on it. I'm not too sure if that's what they're choosing.
It doesn't look like it.
That's hard to say. I can't tell if they're throwing the hit or a draw. They're sweeping it, so they might be throwing a draw, but I don't know if it has the weight if they're sweeping it that early. Oh, it has the weight. I don't know if they got the right line. It's coming down. It's gonna just take off that 1. Not quite what they're looking for, but
no.
It is something though. It is sitting right there in the 8 foot. Stevens Point's gonna kind of have a hard time removing it since there's always that chance it jams on one of theirs. And that yellow sticks around. He must be confident though, because it looks like he's wanting to throw the hit instead of a guard on all that. He's gonna try to punch it through that hole. It's probably, if I had to choose which way to hit it, if I can't hit it through the hole perfectly, I'd almost want to hit right nose, because even if you lose that back red, it's better than hitting it on the inside and then it somehow kind of hits off that red on the far right and rolls in. So definitely don't want to like sacrifice too many red here.
I think that's the challenge for Splash now too, John, is to remain focused.
Yeah.
You know, make everything the way it should be.
Not let Wausau East back in, yeah.
Right.
Looking good. They haven't swept it yet. It might be a little on the outside, which isn't the worst, depending on how it hits. It can't hit too far out or it's going to jam on that red in the back house, which is what it might do. Oh, wow. It's pretty wide. So they're still sitting 3, but East has a chance here to promote that yellow in. They just got to tap it, and then they're sitting 1.
Yeah.
And then Stevens Point's going to have a lot of trouble getting it out with all those red there. The ice they're holding, though, I think they're going to play a hit, which, if they hit it right, it isn't bad. If they don't do it great, though, that yellow could roll right out, and then Stevens Point is still sitting some, so we'll see what happens here. It's probably holding ice for a medium hit, so there's going to be a little bit of speed to this.
Jack Lynch. Skip.
I think he's a little bit on the outside. They're kind of waiting on that sweep. This is where it could get a little scary because he could punch his own yellow through the hole.
It's not.
Oh, not the worst, but red's still sitting.
Yeah, it's
not what they're looking for.
2 more coming up.
Yeah, I think Stevens Point's gonna just play the guard here, keep it safe instead of messing with that yellow and accidentally causing more damage.
Mm-hmm. Winding down on this one, I think, John.
Yep. He's holding ice really next to it. He must feel confident in his hit game. I think he's going to play it. It's a little risky, though, considering that they're sitting 2. I'd almost just throw a high guard and then just let Wausau East work with it.
Yeah.
There's a chance that Wausau East could, I guess, on the other side hit the red and roll. So I guess he's wanting to make sure they don't get more than like 1 here. But if he doesn't hit this right, since it's been staying pretty straight, he could run that yellow into the center and then hurt himself. So we'll see what he does here.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like his second's even talking to him. He doesn't like it, if I had to guess. He doesn't seem too sure. Okay,
Yeah.
he's going to throw the guard. He's giving more ice.
Yeah.
Good job on that. I don't know if it was his second or lead. Actually, that might be his lead, but good job on his part for speaking up. I agree with this call. I'd rather throw the guard, just play it safe. Don't want to accidentally make a shot for Wausau East.
Well, and the thing is, East hasn't made some of those shots. They've had opportunities.
Exactly.
So then, you don't worry about that much.
Yeah. So they're sweeping it. Of course, I think they think it's pretty good now. Kind of just waiting towards the end there to get it finished nice. Nice guard. Could probably leave it right there. Surprised they're going to keep going. I'd almost leave more distance just so that they don't have anything to tap, but
There you go.
that's not bad though, actually. It's
Just looking at that one, if you're wondering about what a broom does sweeping, that was a perfect example right there of what it does. Turning the spin.
Yep.
And
they help it kind of travel that extra distance so it finishes a little farther over than it would have if it had not been swept.
Yeah.
I think Wausau East is going to kind of play a heavy draw through the port and kind of tap that red back that's on the center. They must think there's enough room because I don't think they're playing the double here, but I could be wrong. Yeah, I think he's going to play for a draw here. Or just like a little bit of a chip off the red and roll to the center.
Yeah, you can see the focus in the glass. Behind the glass, full house downstairs. We're up above. We've got a monitor, technical crew. And this could be the last rock of the day for the
Yep. Looks like he has good weight.
this one.
I think they're going to have to go for a line here. Yeah. I don't think it's the worst. Yeah, it looks like it's decent weight. It's just trying to get around the guards just right. Got to get around that first, and then... Oh, it's just going to curl just a little too much.
Nope.
2 red. 14-3.
Yeah. They'll shake.
Yeah, at least that's what they should do at this point.
They will shake. The final in this one, in the first game for both teams, Splash 14, Wausau East 3. For John Wilkerson, I'm George Hirsch. Hope you enjoyed our commentary and broadcast of the Wisconsin State High School Curling Championships. Would like a little tighter competition, but
Yeah.
it is what it is. And so we thank you for joining us, and until next time, take care. Are you around for some more, John?
Yeah, I could probably hit out after this next draw also.
Please. Okay. You do a great job. You help so much. It's great. Okay, so the next one we're doing.